Welcome back to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a really fascinating daily Bible reflection put together for our Substack community. Today, we're looking at a specific stretch of Scripture, Psalms 48, 49, and 50. You know, if you've ever stopped and wondered where your true security actually lies, like deep down, this specific trio of Psalms gently but very firmly confronts that exact question.
Here's our roadmap for the Explainer today. 1. Psalms 48 to 50. 2. The Ark of Security. 3. Ransom and Gratitude. 4. Your Daily Application. And 5. Join us on Substack.
All right, let's get into Section 1, Psalms 48 to 50, the Ark of Security. So, when you read these three Psalms back to back, you immediately start to notice a really deliberate thematic arc. It essentially guides us from this grand external theological security all the way down to the inner posture of our own individual hearts. Psalm 48 kicks us off by looking outward, just celebrating Zion as the beautiful, entirely secure dwelling place of God.
Right, and then Psalm 49 totally shifts the focus. It tackles this universal and honestly very modern folly of trusting our earthly wealth to somehow ransom our lives.
Exactly, and finally Psalm 50 brings us straight into a courtroom. God actually steps in as judge, and he declares that he desires genuine, heartfelt worship over any kind of empty, religious, ritual performance.
What's really cool here is how Psalm 48 bridges the gap between the past and the present. It says, "As we have heard, so have we seen." This is such a brilliant way of showing how inherited tradition, the stories we've heard about God's past deliverance, suddenly becomes a lived, first-hand experience. It takes our faith and moves it from just being dry history into a tangible reality that we can actually see and experience for ourselves.
But then we hit the sharp reality check of Psalm 49. The psalmist writes, "Truly no man can ransom another, or give to God the price of his life, for the ransom of their life is costly." I mean, wow. That directly confronts all those universal, deeply rooted anxieties we carry around about wealth, status, and control. It's a stark reminder that absolutely no amount of money in the bank can ever buy back a soul from death.
Which is the perfect setup for Psalm 50. God essentially calls a cosmic courtroom to session to address how we constantly try to secure ourselves through our own religious efforts. He literally says, "I will not accept a bull from your house, for every beast of the forest is mine." The takeaway, God is utterly unimpressed by our religious resumes. He already owns the whole shebang. What he actually wants is relationship and true integrity.
Let's move on to Section 2, Ransom and Gratitude, diving into the original Hebrew. Looking at the original language adds so much rich texture to this. Let's look at this first word, kofar. It translates to a ransom or an atonement price, literally the cost to rescue a life from death. And as we just saw in Psalm 49, no amount of earthly wealth can ever pay this kofar. But the psalmist doesn't just leave us hanging in despair. Instead, there's a startling, profound hope that God himself will provide the kofar. He will ransom our souls from the grave, paying the ultimate price that we could never, ever afford.
And the second word, which pops up in Psalm 50, is todah. This is a thank offering. But what's so fascinating is that todah isn't just a fleeting, warm, fuzzy feeling of thankfulness. It is a specific, highly intentional practice. It's accompanied by public testimony and very deliberate gratitude, which is totally distinct from a sin offering. God is essentially telling us that he desires this substantive, deliberate practice of gratitude way more than just mindless religious performance or an afterthought of thanks.
This really brings home the ultimate contrast that these three Psalms present. Think of it like a fork in the road. On one side, you have this false security, trusting in our wealth, our societal status, or our ritualistic checklist to somehow ransom our own lives. And on the other side, that's the path of true security. It means wholly trusting God's provision, his kofar, and responding by practicing genuine, intentional gratitude, that todah.
Okay, transitioning to Section 3, your daily application. Where is your true security rooted?
I want to just pause for a second and let this probing question really land. What are you quietly trusting to ransom your life? We literally all do it. Are you leaning your full weight on your savings account? Is it your career status? Or maybe an impressive religious resume of all the good things you do? This reflection is asking us to get brutally honest with ourselves about where we are actually placing our trust.
So to start breaking those habits of false security, we have two really practical steps for you today. First, examine the false ransoms in your life. Take a hard look and identify the things you lean on instead of God. And second, practice deliberate, spoken gratitude, that todah, as a daily discipline.
Make gratitude a structured, intentional part of your day, not just something you throw out there when things happen to go perfectly. That is the kind of worship that truly glorifies God.
And finally, Section 4. Join us on Substack to continue the daily Bible reflection. This explainer is really just a quick glimpse into today's passage. If you want to dive even deeper into this material and see how it connects to the broader sweep of Scripture, we highly encourage you to read the full written reflection on Substack. Subscribe, read along with the community, and definitely return tomorrow for our next reading. We unpack a new passage every day. To wrap up our explainer today, we want to leave you with a final, somewhat provocative thought. Will you let go of your self-made security to trust the God who can ransom what you cannot save? Let that question sit with you for the rest of the day. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.